Welcome.
to the Bring Me to Life podcast
It's time to wake up.
and shine on.
My friends, we have deep ties. I call them my friends, family and allies. Sometimes I miss them oh so much, but I know they're out there spreading their good times. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. Hey yo, all my people of all walks of life, it's time to stand together on behalf of this life. Relate to each other, relate to this planet, fall in love with our home, of which we inhabit. I pray for my relations, leading the way. Everybody dedicated to this beautiful way. Thank you for your service and the part that you play. I'm constantly inspired by you each and every day. I'm in awe of your brilliance and your resilience. In these times that we face, we need courage and grace. I bow to your strength, love and devotion. I feel you, I see you. Let's keep this in motion. Warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. Our paths will cross, and they will weave a legacy of love. We believe all of these soul connections all over the world. I feel so fortunate to know these heroes. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth. We are warriors of the earth, calling for rebirth.
Hello, everybody. Shannon Shine here. Super excited for today's episode. We have a lot of good content to talk about and share today. So, I have someone that is multi-talented and has so many good things to share that you may actually hear this podcast and interview on various platforms on the Bring Me to Life network. So, I hope that you continue to help us share it, and you might learn a little bit something different in each share. So, Shayna, go ahead and can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do and what makes you you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Such an honor to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. My name is Sister Stone or Shayna Gladstone, and I'm an earth-rooted leadership mentor, counsel holder, and deep soul nature guide and hip hop and soul artist. And I've been really gearing up over the past 10 years to really offer this work in a solid way, understanding my mission really is to support people in taking back their wild sovereignty, to come back to our reciprocal relationship with all of life and live our lives as a thank you for the all that we get to experience and all that the earth provides us. So that really looks like the music, the lyrics, everything that I share in that way. And then also in supporting young people who are interested in making a difference in the world, who are connected to the earth and maybe have a sense of modesty or humility already, but want to really step into their power and their self-worth and wade through the underlying challenges and blockages that hold people back from actually making their sacred and serviceful contribution to the world. And I've also been facilitating grief circles and emotional clearing and vulnerability circles over the years, and also teaching facilitation trainings as well to support people in that. And finally, I work with the Animas Valley Institute and have getting my certification in the Wild Mind intensive work, which supports people in stepping into their wholeness through deep nature connection and soul exploration. And I'm also certified in eco-psychology as well.
Wow, it sounds like you've really found multiple branches to your personal tree of life, and I love that. So the Bring Me to Life Network is all about all of those different missions, and what our mission is to really help inspire others to create a life that is inclusive of unity and community and growth, and just waking up and kind of shining on into that mission. So I'm kind of curious, what was your personal experience? Like, what was the awakening like for you, and what pushed you in all of these directions? What was like the turning point? Usually when someone wants to help make the world a better place, there's something that inspires them to do so.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's a great question. I always refer back to the story of when I had graduated from college in Chicago and had been living in this apartment, and was just woke up one morning and looked around and was like, do I value this apartment? Do I value these living in the city, paying rent? And I was working my first corporate job, my only corporate job ever out of college, at a university doing admissions advising. And it just dawned on me, no, these aren't things that I value. And so I really reoriented myself towards the things that I value. And it allowed me to take a really big risk and just going forth into the unknown and selling all of my things and embarking on a journey of learning about how to live in community, how to coexist with nature. And so I followed some threads to different permaculture farms and intentional communities around the world from like I would say it was like 2012 until like 2017. I was immersed in community living and land-based practices and organizing different experiences, like the Earth Odyssey bus tour that took 30 people on a bus to Central and South America, and we did regenerative living projects, and we lived as a mobile village. And that that turned into New Mundo, which is a global platform of eco-villages and communities and regenerative and social projects around the world. And so I was really immersed in business development and creating a whole online platform. And so that was sort of kind of my journey. And through that whole experience, I deepened into my own purpose and realized that all of the knowledge I've gained from living on the land, holding space for community and supporting people and stepping into their service and missions had guided me towards creating my own personal brand, which is what I'm working with right now.
I love it. Are you still doing work with New Mundo?
No, I am not. That sort of ended 4 years ago now, because it was like I was doing a lot of like I was the COO, the Chief Operations Officer, and so I was doing like a lot of business, a lot of marketing, a lot of organizing, and I realized that wasn't my sole
Mm,
purpose. It was more to actually be working with people, and supporting people through healing and transformation and deep nature connection.
beautiful. Yeah, I believe we crossed paths back in like 2014 when you were first like immersed into the New Mundo project, and just seeing how dedicated you get to whatever the project is that is in front of you at that moment. Because I think it's important for people listening to realize that your mission changes, and it's important to kind of allow that evolution to happen. I've been seeing that a lot lately, with what I was calling the great pause, when we were just kind of fighting the world pandemic and everyone kind of had to stop. I was calling it the great pause, and everyone's missions started becoming clearer and clearer. And now we're shifting into what I'm calling the great rebirth, because everybody's really kind of pushing themselves through this new portal of energy, and people's missions are changing. And
Mm,
one of your songs on your new album really kind of hits home for that with me, with the I believe it's just called Warriors. I've been calling it Warriors of the Earth, because that's
mhm.
like the lyric that kind of like rings in my mind, and how we are calling for the rebirth of the world right now. It's not even just like one area, it's like the whole world is going through this rebirthing process together.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you for saying that. I totally agree. I did a little workshop at the beginning of the pandemic about initiation, and I feel like so much of our work is around like really like letting go of our entire identity of who we think we are, and allowing that to die, and really like opening ourselves to listening and tuning in for the deeper vision of our life. And these initiation processes can happen so many times throughout our lives. And the more we do that, the more we allow our ego to die, and our, really completely revisioning and rebirthing ourselves into a new, way of being, is like supporting our continuation of our soul's essence, and blossoming to actually happen over and over again.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much growth happening across the board, and that's a beautiful message to be sharing. um
Mhm.
and like I said, it's just that shifting through it. So let's dive into your music more, because that I want to be able to share some of your offerings into the world on the various platforms here. And your album has a lot of different deep symbolism into it, and it seems like a lot of almost like premonition of the times it was going to be released and what was going on around us. um,
Hmm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your process? And you said you've been kind of gearing up for this for quite some time, so um, it seems like you're working on claiming a lot of personal sovereignty and personal um, just power back.
Yeah, thank you so much for recognizing that. Yeah, it's definitely been absolutely a healing journey to create this EP. It's like I've gone, everything that I'm sharing in it are things that I've had to like really go through myself, and one of the ones that feels really actually relevant is the song called Wholeness. And some of the lyrics are like learning to source all my love from within, feeling my body, moving it with the wind, integrating all the teachings from the medicine. One heart, one mind, I give myself to it. We have everything that we need: water, air, fire, food, a beating heart, and so much of that has been, for that particular song at least, has been around learning to, yes, source all my love from within, and seeing how so much of my life I've outsourced validation and needing from other people to, to affirm who I am and my purpose. And I've been going through a deep healing process to really understand how to be my own best friend, and how to be my own partner, and how to be truly, to truly team up with myself in a way where I'm also even acknowledging the wounded child or the wounded parts of myself, and learning to actually like reparent and love all aspects of myself so I can come into my wholeness. And that's such a big part of that song, and also, you know, the work that I do with Animus Valley Institute, as well as supporting us and coming into our wholeness in that way. So I mean, I could dive, each song obviously has its own journey, but I just felt like for the purpose of this, it feels like that, you know, in terms of healing and transformation, it feels like that one's really more of like a personal song and into the healing journey.
Beautiful. Well, if you don't mind, then we'll take a few moments and we'll actually listen to that song.
Great. I love that.
Awesome.
Yo, sometimes we just gotta go back to the basics of life and remember where we came from, and that we got everything we need to thrive. Today I woke up whole, got everything I need in my soul. Not looking outside for anything, just ready to spread my wings. Being open, receptivity, like the moon, she's looking back at me. Blooming like the flowers in the spring, and the sound of her melodies ring. Learning to source all my love from within, healing my body, moving it with the wind. Integrating all the teachings from this medicine. One heart, one mind, I give myself to it. We have everything that we need: water, air, fire, food. A beating heart, I stay in gratitude. We have everything that we need: water, air, fire, food. A beating heart, I stay in gratitude. Cultivate the soil of your inner landscape. Get your body, mind, and soul in good shape. Surround yourself with people who want to see you grow. Look to your values and make an oath. Fire in my heart, fire in my soul. Got a lot of fire and it's out of control. Walls around my heart, turn it into art. Been outsourcing love for way too long. We have everything that we need: water, air, fire, food. Alright. A beating heart, I stay in gratitude. Okay. We have everything that we need: water, air, fire, food. Alright. A beating heart, I stay in gratitude. The energy in me is so fucking strong. Soft on the outside, hard on the inner. Peeling back the layers, speaking all my prayers. There's a lot of pain and there's no one to blame. Nothing to gain, ready to break the chain. I'm dismembering, I'm remembering parts of my name, letting go of the shame. Ooh, I'm coming in, I'm not who I have been. Teaming with my inner child, no longer exiled. Loving every part, healing my heart. Loving every part, healing my heart. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Awesome. All right, so we'll kind of dive back in. In that song, you talk a lot about gratitude and kind of calling in the people that help you grow. What has that process kind of been for you through your awakening?
Yes, absolutely. That, I mean, so I think about our, you know, our inner soil, you know, and how do we create an environment that is truly supportive and fertile for our ultimate growth? And in a lot of ways, I think about nature in that way. And nature needs an ecosystem. It needs a diverse and supportive environment for it to grow. It needs certain nutrients, water, sun, all of these beings, right? And in order for it to actually thrive. And so this, in the same vein, surrounding ourselves with people and creating and really seeking out community that feels regenerative, in the sense, there's this word I recently heard called a friend-tor, and it's like a mentor, friend, but a friend. So like combining those two words and thinking about how can we have friendships that are not just surface level, or we go out drinking or partying or whatever with them, but actually like we are co-supporting one another and empowering each other to step into our highest potential. And so that, I feel like that has been like one of the most pivotal and most beautiful things of life so far, is really like seeking out those types of reciprocal and regenerative human relationships that have been ultimately, just enormously supportive to my life and to the lives of the people that I get to share in that with.
It goes back to my kind of perspective of like, we create our family and the people that we are surrounded by and who we spend the most time with, and you want to make sure that those people are like supporting. And I love that term, friend tour. Like, I've found that like people that I've been working with as clients have often become friends even after they kind of don't need my services as necessarily a coach anymore, or a consultant, whatever they see me as. And there's just like a friendship there because I want to see them grow. And I think that that's beautiful that you have your friends that are also mentors, because we're all students and we're all learning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious if that, or what did inspire the title of the album, Reciprocal Relations. What is that influenced by? And if you don't mind kind of diving into your album art too. We had a question from the audience of what is the symbolism behind your album cover and the title.
Wow, there's a big story behind that. Yeah, so reciprocal relations is, for me, from my embodied experience of life and all the work that I've done, and all the things that I've learned from elders and ceremony, and just my own personal exploration with nature. I really have come to understand that nature in itself is reciprocal, and everything is as it's giving and receiving, the in breath, the out breath. The inter exchange we have with trees for our breath, like, everything is supporting each other. And the more that we tap into that in the way that we are in life, and the way that we show up in the world as being reciprocal with our lives, like how do we turn everything we do into an offering and into a contribution? Because I feel like the more we get in tune with that natural rhythm, the more we are connected to the way that nature is, and the way that the natural laws of the universe, to kind of like live our thank you and embody our gratitude in the world. And there's so many like practical ways that I feel like I've deepened into that, such as thinking about offerings, and like what is an offering, more than just like, one of course is like our offering to the world from our place of power and our soul's purpose, of course. And then there's other really important ways to make offerings, and it's like really seeing everything on the land as alive. And when I go to like a new place or a new land, like I always like say like, hello beings on the land, like thank you for having me here. I would love to like offer this, just say thank you and ask permission. And it would be like, some ideas are just like a song, a dance, a traditional way is like to putting tobacco down, or even poetry, even a piece of hair, like other herbs. And so like there's, just think about getting creative about the ways, and it's always really about the intention behind it. So for me, reciprocal relations is all about that. It's all about like being in that consistent dance of like receiving and then giving and receiving and giving. So that's a little bit about the background behind the title. And then
The
yeah,
album
I'm happy.
art.
Yeah, so I'm happy to share about that. So something I'm really diving into lately is this mytho-poetic identity work, and so that's been really inspired by the Animas Valley Institute, which again I keep referencing because it's been some of the most life-changing pivotal work for me. And some of the work around developing the eco-mytho-poetic identity is like really tuning into the subtleties and the synchronicities of symbolism and myth that are like kind of guiding us through life. And it's like tapping into this deep imaginal realm, and some of the symbolism and different like clarities that I've received have been around like, how can I be the flower, and be the both be the flower and be the pollinator. And so like open myself to blossom into that beautiful, like nurturing, receptive one. And then, the pollinators, the bees and the hummingbirds have been like just such powerful allies to me as far as learning about how the bees, kind of like are a sacred, and the hummingbirds are sacred pathways to understanding our sacred sexuality, understanding how to actually, like, they're the ones that actually spread the pollen and take the nectar from the flowers, and are facilitators of the fruits and of the flowers of life, right? And so I'm on this constant journey of listening of how do I be the fruit and the flower and the bee and the hummingbird. So there's like obviously so much more to that, but that's just a little bit about that, about the roses and the hummingbird and the bees. And then the moon, I'm a double Cancer, so Cancer, sun and moon, and I am just ruled by the moon. And so it feels like, just this incredible force that has carried me through my life, and that I've had to like really surrender to that, because it sometimes can just like take, it rules me, right? So I have to like consistently just be like, okay, like I'm feeling crazy because it's, full moon's coming, or this is what the new moon, and I have to really honor those times and what needs to happen for me, and the releases and the calling in that needs to happen, and just being in tune with that. So yeah, and at the end of the day, like I've had dreams, that have like guided me as well towards like the nectar of life and the sacred immortal cup of nectar and of ambrosia, and that has like also guided me back to the bee, and understanding like how can I be that, like this sweet, gentle, like delicious, but like loving and powerful force in the world.
Beautiful. I love it. I think the person who asked that question is also going to be just amazed by how much thought and love goes into all the symbolism, because there's somebody who too is into the world of symbolism, and me too. I think it's beautiful, and I love how you talked about being kind of like a mystical poet, just sharing kind of like the words of the earth, because that's what I've been kind of diving into in my personal music journey, is just allowing kind of the elements of the surroundings to kind of guide that experience. So that's really magical to know that you're also on that journey. So okay, so we talked about warriors a little bit, we talked about wholeness a little bit. What's another song that you really want to kind of get the story out for?
Yeah. I think water is always yeah, that one for me is it's practical in a lot of ways for me, because it kind of like is literally a practice that I've learned and developed from learning from my elders and learning from ceremony of, of the relationship that I have with water. And so literally almost every day I do try to pray to water, and actually get down on my knees and talk to water. And because water is literally we're water. We're almost completely water. All life depends on water. And it so in the essence, in so many ways, I've almost seen it as the ultimate creator, and so it's like God in a glass, in a way. And so I've been continuing to deepen into my practice with praying to water and like asking water to teach me how to be more like you. And so that song about water is really that. It's really the prayer that I speak to water, and I turned it into a song.
You that grows, you that flows, how you are in me, how you are in all the living things. Teach me how to nourish, how you let life flourish, how you're deep and how you're vast, how you move so slow and fast, how you find your way into the smallest, darkest place. Teach me how to pray, how to move like you with grace. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. I watch you water in the way that you move. Come on. So pure, so clean. It's you, it's so true. Ooh, I come to you every day on my knees, praying to you, asking you to show me how to be a life giver, flow like your river. It's you who I owe my life to. Nothing in this world compares to your divinity. Highest order of love, holy source of everything. I pray about the people who are thirsty, and rage about the people who are greedy. I pray about the people who are thirsty, and rage about the people who are greedy. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Who is me? Have mercy, mercy, for the ways I have mistreated you, for the ways I have depleted you, for forgetting you're holy. You bring me to be lowly. Teach me how to wait till the tide follows its fate. How you never leave, only change your state. Holding you the memory of all the energy that came before and still be pure, to wash away what does not remain. Water is life. Water is life. Show me. Water is life. Water is life. Water.
Beautiful. I'm so glad you shared the story with that one because it was something I was curious about as well. I mean, obviously water is life, but there's deeper meanings behind all of our different lyrical journeys. And you have another song where you talk about being pretty close to the water, and I would love to know. It's actually more than just water. It's being close to nature, and it sounded like you were near water, and it's your song "Sensual." I would love to hear the story behind Sensual and how that journey's been for you releasing that side of yourself.
Ooh, yes, thank you. I really appreciate that so much. It's such a gift, and it means so much to me that you have listened and deepened into like what and just like seeing and acknowledging the journey that each one of these songs has been for me. And yeah, just thank you for that, for asking that. um so yeah, sensual. Yeah, sensual. So I'll get a little real here for a moment. Some of the most beautiful experiences that I've had is actually self pleasure in nature, and actually like, yeah, masturbating in the natural world alone when I'm completely surrounded by nature. And I've had some of the most spiritual experiences doing that, and it's like it's like brought me to this place of understanding how sexual nature is and sensual nature is. And there's been like times where I felt like really like turned on by the way that water moves, or the way that the trees move, or like really really strong and powerful mountains and boulders.
Mm.
And like actually finding myself turned on in like a really powerful way to in witnessing and in experiencing and feeling the that essence of the natural world, and then allowing that to actually move me into a place of like, okay, well, I'm gonna like go with that. And so that song actually did come from some visceral experiences I've had in that way. And yes, it's been a major journey to share that aspect of myself, and also embrace the fact that like our sexual nature and our sensual nature doesn't have to be so taboo. And it's been really like taboo for most of our lives. And
Right?
so yeah, and so
It's
I think it's
crazy.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's so it's like how do we like bring it out so that we can actually like talk about it, and that it's like it's really okay to use our senses. Like sensuality is all about being fully alive, turned on, and like connected. And so when we think about sensuality also, it's like smelling a rose and being like, oh, and just being totally like intoxicated by that, and like taking that in, and like you know going to a tree and like feeling the leaves on the tree and just being like, wow. And like these using our senses, our smell, our touch, our taste, this is all bringing us into like this really deeper aliveness with like our whole experience of being human.
Mm, I think it's freaking brilliant because honestly, it's so important for us to get that message out there that like nature is sexy and like you're allowed to be sexy, and being natural and connected to that is a different form of sexy, and not in like the sex sells kind of way, but in the be yourself and kind of follow what turns you on kind of way. And
Yeah.
there's so many women out there that are afraid to connect with that because they're afraid of being seen as like prey if they bring out that sensual side of themselves. And I'm kind of like right there with you where I'm like, honestly, the most sexy thing right now is like nature and just watching nature grow. And like I planted some plants and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like little babies. And it was just like, oh man, I don't know. Nature is just so beautiful. And I often will like be scrolling and I have a lot of other people that also really love nature, and they'll like share a picture of like just trees in like a time lapse in slow motion or something, and just watching how they're all wiggling and just being happy. Like, it's such a joyful experience. I don't even know if it's like sexual, just like joyful for me to like see that kind of connection to the earth again, because it wasn't something I had. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to go out. I was surrounded by woods that I wasn't allowed to play in or explore, and it was really surreal. And now I have a partner who also like really loves nature and has shown me nature in a completely different way. Like, I never had somebody who would like strip down and just like hop in water and just like love it. So it's like been such a deep connection to seeing nature in a different way. And just, I'm also a lyrics person, so I love diving into the lyrics of people's music and just seeing what they're really thinking on the inside, because that's what I think lyrics are. It's like, I can't say these in normal words. I mean, I guess I could, but you're gonna get it so much deeper if I sing it to you. And I feel like that's what you really went for with your album.
Yes. Yeah, I've always been kind of a literal person, and I know that part of being a lyricist is like using a lot of metaphors and stuff, and that's something I want to grow into more, but I am very like, very like straightforward, and like, this is what the experience is. And my toes are covered in sparkled sand, and the waves are coming crashing into me, and I feel the water coming in, opening, and it's just like, it's like really subtle. Like, the thing I love about sensual is like, I'm appreciating that like you get it, because I'm grateful that it's something that I can share with my family, and they're not like immediately like, oh, you're talking about like being like super sexually turned on by like being in the natural world. It's like still very subtle, and it's but the message gets across.
I love it. I think subliminal messaging is kind of key to the reality right now, because there's just so many thoughts going back and forth that like people have so many opinions. It's just important to get your like frequency out there in a way that is felt with love and appreciation. So good job there. So we'll take a second, we'll listen to Sensual, and then we'll dive back in. All right,
great.
Toes covered in sparkled sand, waves coming, crash into me. I feel the waters coming in, opening. I feel my femininity. I fall into sensual beauty. Sun on my lips, clenching the sand, moving with the tide. Goes my hand. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Come on. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Ooh, hey. Divine union, water's flowing out. I let go, and I make a sound. Feel so connected, feel so electric, like nothing in between me and you. Sky so blue, and we become one. Me and the sun, I become the air. All the time to spare. Feel the body pulsing, earth is convulsing, or is that me? Haha. Let the mind go, natural flow, sensual liberation, earth vibration. I was trying to leave, but I'm on a staycation, loving on myself while I love up on this earth. My home is my heart, and heart is this hearth. And in this moment, I put my body first. I put my body first. Okay. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Holy body, holy water. I am holy, and I am of the earth. Holy body, holy hands, touch so sweet the way I care for her, the way I care for her. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Come on. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Ooh, hey. Breathing in the desert sky, curves blending with the shades. I feel spirit coming in, opening, body spread out on this boulder. Not a human in my sight. Search for my roots, in the sand, moving with the tide, goes my hand. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Come on. My body's sacred, and so is this land.
Give it all to a Mother Earth. Love yourself if you know your worth.
Beautiful. I just think the lyrics of that song just kind of like take you to a different place and get to experience like that feeling of joy. And I know that so many people right now are missing connections to each other, that if they did have the chance to go out and just connect with nature for a minute, they would probably feel a lot better.
Yes, I agree. Because yeah, so much of like what I talk about is like even in the song Relations, it's like human and non-human kin. You know, it's so much of the work from the work that I've understood is like we rely so heavily on our human relationships to bring us joy and to bring us that feeling of wholeness and, you know, conversation even. And the natural world and the non-human world, if we're quiet enough and we allow that space enough, we can actually create, you know, secure attachments within ourselves by having deeper relationships with nature and actually being like, oh my gosh, like I can communicate with this plant or this tree, and I can feel like I'm having you know, community that's not necessarily human. And so I definitely agree and think that is something that I felt really strong to share about, especially in this time where we're going, like, we've been in, you know, quarantine for so long, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, another wave comes back around. So I think the connection to nature right now is so vital and so supportive.
I agree. I totally agree. And something else that's been helping me kind of get through the transition of life here has also been like the creation of music. And again, I mentioned lyrics are really important to me, but I'm curious about like your background beats and stuff. Is that something that you've dove into creating yourself? Do you have a team that helps you, or what was the process of like the background music? Because you kind of have like this throwback, like bluesy, jazzy 90s hip hop all kind of in one. And I really love it.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I worked with a producer in LA. His name's Teddy Roxpin, and he's amazing. And I just happened to be connected with him, and really like he had the sound that I was really specifically looking for. And so we would co-create, like I would go to his studio and I would kind of share the melody of the song and sort of some like feelings I wanted to invoke, and kind of like you know, kept mentioning like the importance of kind of like encapsulating or capturing the essence of the 90s, because I just missed so much that like when music was really actually good, and there's something about it that like brings us back that feeling of like I can really like feel this, you know, there's like soul and depth in it. And so we would sit together for 3-4 hours, and would like I would be like, oh yeah, this bass line, or I like this sound, or you know, this like kind of like this melody or this drum beat. And so he was doing the actual, you know, creation of it, and we were just like working together on it. So I have not dove into that myself. It's definitely a huge edge for me to sit, you know, in front of the computer and like learn a software program. I've tried a few
It's a
times, and I
lot.
think, yeah, it is a lot. So honestly, most of my music has been written to like guitar or ukulele. And most of those songs were originally like campfire songs, you know, and so it was like such a cool thing to kind of like take those and kind of bring them alive, you know, and with the essence of the funky eco-sensual 90s vibey feel.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. And I think it's important for people to know that there's like a team that goes behind bringing dreams to life. So that's awesome. I just thought I would give you a second to talk about that process. And I'm curious, is there anything else that you feel just kind of channeling through you right now, or a message that you want to shout out into the universe for the audience to kind of witness?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I can't ignore the, talking about a bit about the state of the world that we're in right now, and the sort of veil that's been like lifted. It feels like, racism has been something that's been going on for, 450 years. And the depth of the psychological program that has been running for so long is like, there has been almost like this illusion there, and now it's lifted, so there's an open wound. And there's been a lot of people that have been supporting non-Black folks in doing sort of like the unpacking of the privilege, and kind of understanding how, we might be contributing or benefiting from racial injustice throughout time. And I've been noticing that it's like, it's challenging work, because no one wants to admit that they have been contributing to or benefiting from just simply by participating in the system. And I know that for a lot of us listening here, we care about like creating a new world and shifting the paradigm. And so much of that is like realizing that so much of the root of capitalism has been like working towards trying to keep a certain demographic of people oppressed, and like that they're basically the ones that are doing the dirty work and the cheap work, and keeping them struggling so that the rest of the world can kind of like keep like growing in in a monetary way. And so like just re-educating ourselves on the history of racism and what's happened, and how Black people have tried to like rise up and create their own wealth, and then the white folks are, there's different accounts of this happening throughout history, and then them kind of getting like they're burned down, or and I just think at the end of the day, it's like deep work to have to kind of really look at the ways that we have had such, what not I'm gonna say we, but like a non-Black folks have benefited or contributed to racism. And doing that work is hard, and it does again go back to like the ego idea of like having to dissolve our ego a bit, and like surrender and bow down to like the reality of the situation. And there, yeah, I could say so much more on that, but I'll leave it at that for now.
I think you touched on a lot of good points. It's a lot about like learning and taking a step back. And even though there's a lot of us that think we mean well, and I mean, I got burned too. I stood up, I used my voice and my platform, and I still have a lot of unpacking to do. And it's interesting coming from the perspective that many of us do, because many of us that claim to be star seeds and connected to the spiritual community and things, we're still processing it. And sometimes I think there's a lot of people out there that forget that it is a process, and that just
Right.
because you mean well doesn't mean you know exactly how to word it yet. I
Yep.
think it's important to still like put your perspective out there so that you can learn more. That's something I learned, was I spoke a little too soon, and I learned a lot from it. And it was more just in like and like even like the idea of like the looting and stuff. At first I was like, why are we burning everything down, and we want the world to just be like new? And it took me a second to be like, oh, this is like historical practices that have actually worked. And like there's a lot of like unpacking and processing to do, and I still don't like agree with a lot of it, but at the same time I fully am aware of how many different layers there truly is, and how it's important to just take a step back in some
Yeah.
respects, but not shut up. It's like standing down for the next wave of understanding so that we can hold space and just keep building that bridge. Because being the bridge to seeing the new world as the new world and not this diverse war at the same time, I think is really important. But I'm with you where there's so much that could be said, and I also am like, is it my place to say certain things at this point? I'm going to go back to kind of listening and learning and
Yes.
educating and doing my best for that. And I think that's what's really important for everyone, no matter like where we are, what our standpoint is, like learning and kind of seeing all the perspectives and figuring out where our place in it is
Yep.
before we like take a step too far in any direction.
Agreed. So well said. So well said. Absolutely. I feel like I'm in and out of that process of like, yeah, like dipping my toes into like, oh, how can I, be supportive, and then kind of going back to like a contemplative space, because at the end of the day, I really do think it's really an inner process. It is. It's like so much of the work is not necessarily like blabbing. It's more like reading and like listen and grieving, and like part of it for me is like, how can I seriously like see like, okay, that my ancestors, that Eurocentric ancestors from Ireland and from England, and those aspects of myself, like seeing like, damn, like I'm ashamed of what my ancestors have done, and like turning that shame into like grieving about what they've done. And it's not about necessarily like shaming ourselves, but like being with that pain of of what has been done and what's been created. And that's an inner process, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm still personally learning how I can be the change. I know I want to be the change I wish to see, and I'm doing my damnedest, but it's a process of unpacking. And like we started out this interview talking about how missions change, and really just being willing to listen to spirit, and your relationship to spirit, I think personally, is like the best method we have right now.
Absolutely. I so agree. Yeah.
Wow. I
Thank
think
you.
this has been so beautiful. Again, is there anything else on any other topic that you feel inspired to share? Is there anything you would tell your younger self? How's that?
Yeah, thank you. I think I would probably tell my younger self that like there's no real way to know what is going to happen to you, and that all that we can continuously do is know that life is challenging, and not to project that into the future, but just kind of for me to be like, yeah, life is hard and there will be challenges, and you get to learn how to grow from those experiences. And it's not about like letting them like stop you from growing, but actually like listening to what the deeper lessons are in things that happen to you, and continuously allow those experiences to keep opening you to deeper humility and service. So I honestly would have not even been able to fathom all of the hardship and also the beauty that I've experienced, and also just to really know like, hey, if you're choosing to walk a path of healing and a path of medicine, like you're asking for it, like you're asking to get tested and challenged, like the universe is going to give you those challenges and those tests that you're asking for, because you want to heal and you want to expand and grow. And so just to know like, all right, be careful what you wish for, because if you're staying on a path of like, I'm good where I am, I don't need to grow, like I'm not saying you won't get challenged, but I think the greater joy we're searching for, and bliss and connectedness, the greater pain we might experience as well. And just to like, yeah, know that. So I feel like that's what I would probably say.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Sister Stone. I know I got my copy of your album on Bandcamp, and I can drop that link in the description, but where else can people find you on the interwebs?
So I would love for you to follow me at Sister Stone Music on Instagram. I also have Sister Stone Leadership as well. And then my website is sister-stone.com, and all of the support and share. If you love the music, if you love the work, to just send it out to as many people as you can, recommending them, and checking out my new music video as well on YouTube for the song Sensual.
It's a good
Yeah.
video.
Thank you.
Awesome. And we also have an album review for this on Bring Me to Life. You can help us get our name out there even more by sharing that content. And really just remember that when you love people and their content, helping share it is really caring, because we're trying to really change the world. And sometimes it takes someone being crazy enough out there to think it's possible, but it also takes a team like you out there listening to help us share the messages that we've put out there. It's our offering to spirit, and we hope you feel guided to share it and to promote it in any way you see fit. So thank you, Shayna, Sister Stone, for being here, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much. You too.
So wherever you're listening, I hope you check out bringmetolife.com. I hope you share the album review. I hope you check out some other amazing content to help brighten your life and awaken your soul. And we're going to go ahead and end this out with Relations. So check out Reciprocal Relations, Sister Stone. And this song is called Relations.
I get right behind that. 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 Follow it, see where it goes. Stay true, stay on the road. Make your offering, reciprocal feeling. Let it sing, let your heart ring. Be in right relation, good vibration. Life is sweet, all that water brings. So much to be thankful for. Focus on the prayer, water, wind, fire, air. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Yo, there's a higher power and they hear sincerity. Come on, speak your prayers, cry your tears, specificity. Okay. This road of life is rugged, it will put you to the test. It will bring you out, love you down to your essence. Get down on your knees, close to Mama Earth. Think about your loved ones, put your family first. It's all about relations and how we tend to them. Reciprocal relations, human and non-human kin. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Yo, always ask permission, only take what you need. It's time to flip the script of this capitalist greed. Yo, pay her close attention, spread around the seeds. Voices to the marginalized, empowerment to lead. Feed the holy with your tears, beautiful words and poetry. Listen and respect of all living beings. I came here to remind you, you are of the earth. The more we reconnect, the more we find our worth. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side. Holy Creator, Mother Earth, Father Sky, walk with you side by side.
For many of us,
spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, that's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.